In this video, I'm going to go over how to create a GIF using photographs from the internet. This process will be very similar for using your own photos and videos, but I just want to start by going over how to find the right types of images on your computer. So I'm using Google image search. I have searched for a horse, and I actually have already downloaded some images that I'm going to use to make my GIF. But what I want to do is just go over how to find images that are good to use for GIFs. So the first thing is the images need to be big enough to fit on your 800 pixel or whatever size you choose. They need to be large enough to do that. And so just by hovering over these images, I don't necessarily know how large they are, but if I click on one and then hover over the image preview here, I can actually see in the lower left 982 by 769 is the size of this image. And that is big enough for me in this case because I'm going to make a GIF that is only 800 pixels wide and probably 600 pixels tall. So this is actually larger in both directions, so that is great. And this particular image is also good because it will be very easy for me to select this horse out and put it on a different background since it is already on a white background. Someone has probably already selected it and done that. So that will be very easy. This image similarly will be pretty good, and this image is even bigger, so it might be better in some instances. But I'm going to think of if I'm going to make the horse walk or run, I can see kind of both legs here, but really only one leg here. So you just have to kind of think about and really find the right image. Now, some of these images might be small. It turns out that most of these are actually, I'm just hovering over them, they actually are all pretty, this is a little bit smaller. They're pretty good size, but if you're running, this one is also a good size, but if you're running into an issue where you're finding these images and they're only like 100 pixels large, you can always go to your tools in Google here and choose your size and choose large. And that might change your search results a little bit, but it will also cut out any particularly small images. All right, so once I find images I like, I need to download them. I can either control click or right click and download linked file, or in many cases I can drag and drop these images onto my desktop. Now when you do that, you want to make sure you are dropping the preview and not the preview file, because this Google preview file is not going to be your full image size. It's only going to be a small preview versus the one you downloaded, which is going to be your full size image. So you really need to make sure that you're downloading the right size image. Now I may end up using this picture later because it is an awfully cute horse. But you're going to download your images that way. Once you've downloaded your images, I'm going to minimize this, you need to put them all into a folder. And I already have put here my jumping horse. The background I'm going to put it on, and some horse wings to make it fly. So that's going to be the gist of my GIF. I need them all in this folder because when I make my GIF, Photoshop is only going to be referencing some of these images. So I need to actually, when I submit the working file, I'm going to need to actually submit all of these images along with my Photoshop document. I will go over that later. So what I'm going to go ahead and do to start is I will go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and open up Photoshop and make a new document that way. I could say grab my background image and right click it and open with Photoshop. That would be one way to do it. But the issue with that is you're not necessarily as much as in control of your image size. Like right now, this is much too large for the GIF. So for the GIF, I like to start by making a new document. So I'm going to just X out of this. So I'm going to create new. or go to File and New, and make a new document. Again, I'm going to go to the Film and Video options. I'm going to choose one of the main HD options, making sure that I open up my advanced options and making sure the pixel aspect ratio is square. Then I'm going to change the width to 800 and the height to 600. Now I may end up changing this more later, but for right now that's what I'm going to start with. Resolution at 72 is good. Then I'm going to click Create. And in this case, I now have my blank canvas. I'm probably already in my video motion workspace, which gives me the timeline down here. And I'll just go ahead and create a video timeline. And again, I want to make sure that I'm creating a video timeline and not a frame animation. So I have that. So now I can go ahead and start to bring images into Photoshop. So I can do that a couple different ways, but I think in this case what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make my Photoshop window smaller. I am going to drag in my sunset image. And when I drag it in this way, I'll see that my document is actually a little bit tall. So I'm going to double click that. And I'm then going to actually come in and crop this down. So, and hit return or enter, and then move back to my move tool. So now I have my document, I have it the size I want it, and note the little symbol in the lower right means that this is a smart object. In general, for these GIFs, we want our images to be smart objects. Sometimes we may have to move back and forth between them. I'll go over that in just a second. I'm going to first go ahead, I'm just going to drag in my other images. Okay. All right, and so now when I drag them in this way, they're all coming in as smart objects. Now before I start editing this, I do want to go ahead and just go ahead and save it. So I'm going to go to File and Save. And I'm going to call this a good name. And I'm going to put it in my GIF photo demo folder. Make sure it is a Photoshop format or format that we are using to make the working files. Once we have that saved, we can go ahead and start to edit our document. I will do that in the next video.